She got a new one.
instead of her groove. Hey everybody, welcome to the Office 365 Pulse. I love that we can see Stella walking behind Tamara with her bone. That's great. The updates are making her pace
Nervous.
today. It's great. It's great. We only have about
It's the
40.
updates that are doing that.
It is. It is. We only have about 40 updates today. So I'm going to let my good buddy Tom go first.
Oh,
Believe
wow.
it or not. So we're going to
Oh,
start with in development, which means
ah,
Microsoft is building these things. So
ah,
go for it,
pressure,
Tom.
pressure. I need to find what I'm going to talk about. So, a couple things on the team side. One is Teams meeting auto recording. So they're going to put a new feature out there that allows you to auto record team meetings by choosing auto record option in meeting options. I think this is really nice because a lot of times like, oh, who's recording and who's doing what? Oh, did I remember to record it? You just turn that on as one of your meeting options and it's always going to be recorded. So I think that's a really nice change. I think a
It's a
lot of
great
people
idea.
like that. And then the other one, paging on video gallery. So when you choose large gallery and there are more than 48 videos, or in gallery with more than 9, if you want to see more moving images on your screen, you'll be able to now because they've got navigation controls and you can scroll up and down and see 98 people. Hey! Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a meeting where I've had more than like 10 people turn on their videos, much
Yeah,
less
I've been in some large
98.
meetings, but there's like 5 people with their video on, and that's it.
Yeah. So I don't know how often this will be used, but hey, if you've as Jennifer always says, you don't know you need it until you need it. And if you need to have 100 videos out there and scroll up and down, you'll now be able to when this hits. It should be out in June, coming soon to a tenant near you.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. Well, I'm going to do one. Live events in GCC High and DOD. Coming soon, coming
So
soon.
excited.
Yes, so excited. In development. It says it's coming in June. I wouldn't hold your breath, but probably coming soonish. Very excited. Very excited. June, July-ish. Very excited about that. We have a lot of people ready in DoD especially for that. We get asked about that a lot. It is coming soon to a DoD tenant near you. So love that one. All right, Tamara, what do you love this week that's in development?
I love something that I have never loved before. Whiteboard.
Ooh.
And that's because you can do web templates. So participants in Teams and on Whiteboard for the web can add a variety of built-in templates for meetings, workshops, decision-making, planning, design thinking, and more. And if they're doing built-in templates, how long until we can create our own templates?
Good point.
Which I think will be great for workshops. Like if you've ever done like the sailboat
Mm.
um, requirements gathering thing, it would be nice to just be able to click sailboat and have the sailboat in the sun and the water show up, as opposed to having to redraw it every single time. So I'm a little bit excited about that. And then also the SharePoint Migration Manager content discovery. So before you move any files or folders from on premises into Microsoft 365, you need to discover content and plan for the migration. Always plan. Spend 95% of your time planning and 5% of your time doing. The migration manager from within the SharePoint Admin Center will provide content discovery so admins can best understand what content they have, decide what to migrate and what to remediate. I think this has to be done in conjunction with the business owner for the content because I don't think the SharePoint administrator is going to understand all of the content that's currently being used in SharePoint. So again, it's a great tool, but you really have to partner it with the business owner to get the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah, if you talk to us, everything's getting migrated.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one I'm going to talk about next because I am so excited about it. and I don't want anyone to steal my thunder. So I'm going to steal everyone else's. Do you guys remember fluid components and know what fluid is in the Office fluid documents and stuff like that? Do you guys?
I have heard reference to it, yes.
So excited about them. So fluid, Tamara, is this like, we all live in fluidity and we can be in a document all editing at the same time, and it's like happiness. And am I in Word? Am I Excel? Am I in Teams? Am I in Outlook?
It doesn't matter.
No one knows. It's all fluid and we're editing and we're happy. The first time I saw it, like, I was floored. I was at a dev kitchen or something like that, and they invited me to a dev kitchen. Who invites Jen Mason to a dev kitchen to begin with? I mean, let's just start there.
She doesn't do
And
semicolons, people. Come on.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I at a dev kitchen? Why
Did you at least bring
invite?
Corey?
Oh yeah, I was with Corey. I was like, why did you invite me to a dev kitchen? What value am I gonna have here? And they showed it to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. It was glorious. Oh, it was the best thing ever. And so now we're getting this in Teams chat. Why do I love this? Because I make documents all day, and then you know what I do in the evenings? I make documents, and then I wake up in the morning and I'll make a presentation that's kind of a summary of my document. And then I do it in collaboration with people. And so sometimes I'll be like, hey, Tamara, I need some data in this table. And I'll copy the table and I'll put it into Teams. Well, now with this like fluid chat thing, she's going to be able to do inline editing of that table versus then having to copy that table and make the changes and then send it right back to me. So this is actually going to make my life just easy because we're going to live in fluidity. I'm so excited about this because it's just gonna work great. So super excited about this. I might be the only one in the world, but it's just wonderful. So I'm
Jen,
super
I think you're excited enough for the whole world.
I might be. I'm gonna be like, guys, let's edit a table. And
Join me in fluidity.
yeah, that's
Oh,
it's great. It's great.
awesome.
So, super
Y'all need
excited.
hobbies.
I have a hobby. It's called Office 365. Anyway. Adam, nerd us out, man.
Well, yeah, so I'll revisit the one that Tamara mentioned just because I think it's really cool. So I'm interested to see where the middle ground is going to eventually end up being on this. Microsoft has done some awesome steps over the last 3 to 4 years, really, on making their built-in tools better, specifically when you're talking about migrations. If you talk to anyone who knows what's what about people coming into the cloud, getting them onboarded in a structured and good way is by far the biggest challenge. And if you can do that, there's a good chance they're going to stay for a long time. But Microsoft also has tons of partners out there that this is what they do, and their entire business model is based around that. So it's always been a somewhat delicate dance. As they have made their own tools and made their own systems better, the area of where their partners are coming in and adding value gets more and more blurred. And I see this as a further step in that direction. They've had some pretty good success with the SharePoint migration tool recently. It's advanced quite a bit once they purchased Mover that we talked about, probably like a year ago. And this is now getting more into the administrative planning side. As Tamara said, like, not only do you need to have the actual people going to be doing the migration, you probably need the business owners and stuff like that. But that's a lot of where the partners tried to come in and add value. They tried to add structure and stuff like that. And Microsoft is clearly putting tools out there. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm in a partner. I'm very aware we are just going to leverage these tools to help give structure to what we're doing and things like that. But I'm still interested to see as this develops on where it's going. Cool that Microsoft's doing it. It brings more value to all of us, makes it so you don't have to potentially pay for another tool. But I do think that's interesting with their partner ecosystem. And the other thing is a very unnerdy one or untechnical one. But I'm going to give a shout out to it because it's something that I use all the time. So pin chat message, it's a super simple feature. Chat is like literally you messaging someone one-on-one. So not necessarily in a team, but just like the chats that you have. So true story, my laptop is like the worst thing in the world. And for, probably about 6 months now, if it ever goes to sleep, it makes me BitLocker unencrypt that code.
Whoa.
So that way I can go through to log back into my laptop, which is not fun. But so on my Teams client, on my other computer and on my phone, I have the message pinned from my IT admin for what my BitLocker code is. So that's what I'm doing. But at this point, I almost have it memorized, but I have it pinned in there so I can go in and see it. And if I'm ever talking to someone and they get something that I know I need to follow up on, what my routine has now come is I pin that chat from them. So if I'm talking to a salesperson, I promise them a follow-up item, I just pin that chat, and I know when I'm going through and looking, oh, why are these pinned? Oh, it's because I still owe them a follow-up item. So it's been a very, very easy way that I've added some structure and some organization to my life that I think is super simple and super great, and just moves the chat right up to the top for you. So something I use a lot. I really
like. This existed forever?
So yes and no. They've had the ability to pin stuff inside of Teams for sure for forever. This is something that I don't know if you could have done with the actual chat messages themselves. But yeah, I don't know. I've used it for a bit, and to be fair, it is just listed as in development, but it's in development from this month, so I don't really know. But I definitely use this feature.
Yeah, because I feel like I've used it forever, so I don't understand
You've
what
been
it's
using
different than.
pin the chat. This is pin a particular message. So I think that's the difference.
Sure.
So you
so
can't,
it will pin
today you
just.
can't pin a particular message,
Right.
but you could pin the chat.
Thank you.
So
for
if the
bringing
information
clarity.
that you need is farther up in the chat, you would have to do scrolling and try and
Thank
find
you.
it.
I
like
still pin
BitLocker keys.
chats all the time too. But yeah, regardless, cool
That
to
makes
see.
sense. That makes it make so much more sense. I was like, so confused. I was like, I
Everybody has
feel like
that.
I've been using this for like 5 years, even though Teams hasn't been around for 5 years. But I feel like I've been using this
The
forever.
point's still valid, Jen.
So this makes sense. Thank you
Go
for
back to
explaining that.
fluidity land. You'll be
Fluidity. All right. Anything else for in development, guys?
Good.
Nope.
All right. Rolling out. Tom, roll us
There's like
out,
5
man.
things.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm going to take 14 of them.
14 of the 5.
14 of the 5. I do math
Math is
well.
hard, Adam.
Numbers
Math
are
is
hard. Numbers are so hard. Microsoft Teams lower all raised hands.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Did I take the wrong one?
No,
okay,
go
I'm
for
going
it,
to
man.
Microsoft
Go for it.
Teams Attendee Dashboard so somebody else can take Rolla's all hands because I live with one of these people on the screen right here. No, but meeting organizers and presenters will have an option to lower all the raised hands from the participant pane. It's not too bad if 1 or 2 people are raising their hands to ask questions and you go in and, lower their hand for them if they don't do it on their own, which they rarely do. But if you say, hey, I want to see a show of hands, how many people do X, Y, Z? And you've got 40 people that all raise their hands, and I can pretty much guarantee you that 35 of them are not going to turn that off. This is a way to go get it all taken care of at once. So I think this is a really nice feature. It isn't rolling out. It says June, so you may have it in your tenant right now. Feel free to take a look for it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Tamara?
Microsoft Teams Attendee Dashboard. So this, you can measure meeting and webinar registration and attendance data in a reporting dashboard. This is supposed to be rolling out in June. Unfortunately, it's not rolling out to DDD. How about DOD? GCC High, but it is rolling out to GCC and worldwide commercial. So there is that. So with all the webinar stuff that's rolling out, now we'll have an attendee dashboard. So I think that'll be nice.
And that just makes the webinar stuff. You were so excited about it 2 weeks ago. I don't know. And I was like, man, she is really pumped about this. And I hadn't had time to play with it last week. Girl, I played with it this week and I integrated it with our learning system and I put it in the calendar and I was singing its praises. It was good. I am like, this is beautiful. This is easy. This works. I am happy. I was having a moment. It was a good week. It was a good week. I was like, it should have worked like this from the beginning. Now get it in the DOD. That's all I was saying. It was great. I was a happy person. So this one's fun. SharePoint scenario-based site templates. So we can leverage existing SharePoint capabilities to build our own sites faster and get inspired. So I love that. Site templates, we're getting them. So rolling out so that we'll, It's like a flashback. I told that to someone today. I'm like, man, are we in SharePoint 2007? Like, so we're getting
We're
some
getting
of
the
those
Fab
days.
40 back.
Oh no. But getting site templates to kind of get there a little bit faster, because hey, we're doing project documents. Why am I having to build this from scratch? Hey, it's team site. Why am I building this again? So excited to see that. So Adam, any nerdy things in rolling out for us? Or I'm sorry, highly technical administrative items?
Sure, of course. Thank you. Yeah, so there's one that I like that I thought was kind of cool. The idea, it's called Microsoft Defender for 365 First Contact Safety Tip. So the basic concept of this is actually kind of cool. This is something that was available through PowerShell if you knew how to go through and dig for it, but then now just making it as an option you can turn on in the anti-phishing stuff. Basically, if this is the first time that someone has contacted you, or they hardly ever contact you and they contacted you again for the first time in a while, they'll basically notify the user that, hey, this is a first contact. The idea behind this is really cool. If someone comes in there and they want to, act like they're Jen Mason, so they create, like Jenny Farr, F-A-R, Mason at, goplanet.com or whatever it is, or at some domain that looks like it, at Microsoft, whatever they call it, and then reach out to you, they could very much be impersonating someone. And as a human, it'd be pretty easy to overlook that. But with this system, because you don't normally get emails from Jennifer Mason, you get emails from Jennifer Mason, it would actually notify you, hey, this is the first time you've gotten a message from them. Please make sure you're being cautious with it, stuff like that. And so, if a new client emails me, sure, that's fine. I'm probably not going to be concerned about this is the first time. But if someone that I think is someone I communicate with a lot, and I suddenly get this is the first time that person has contacted you, you're probably going to be a lot more cautious and a lot more security conscious for those messages. So it's a really cool feature. It's something that's not too technically complex, but I think adds a nice little layer of security and protection.
Right.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Let's go to rolling out. So,
No.
Tom.
Launched.
Launched? You got more? Launched. Oh, yeah, launched. Take us to
were
launched,
rolling
Tom. We were in
Okay.
rolling out. Take us to launched.
Okay. Two that are very similar to each other, and they deal with the same topic, and that is Microsoft Teams. The first one is enable a single attendee's video. So you'll now have the ability to do that. And then the other one is enable all attendees' videos. So you can be very draconian and enable or disable video for all attendees before or during or after a Microsoft Teams meeting. So that was set for May. It is launched, which means it should be in a tenant near you. And it looks like it went to GCC, but I'm assuming it did not go to GCC High or DoD.
Well, now that's going to enable it, but that's not going to start it. That's going to give them the ability to turn it on.
True.
But that's not going to give you the ability to, I'd like to see what Tamara's doing, and go turn on her camera. That's going to just give her the ability to turn it on, should she want to. Yes.
Good.
And I don't necessarily see it as draconian measures, because let's say you're on a meeting and people are having trouble with hearing or seeing what's going on. Being able to turn off everyone's webcams, I think, could really help with the bandwidth and really clear up a lot of the sound issues. And a lot of people are novices and they don't necessarily how to do that on their own, or it will take them a little while to find it. So if you can do it for everybody all at once, I think it could really help the quality of the meeting if you're having issues.
And a lot of times too, we'll be in a meeting and somebody will decide to start with a video. Well, all of a sudden their video takes the entire screen. I'm like, yeah, turn it off. I don't want to see all the, your entire face there. And I know, Jen, you had talked about the one training video where the person had turned it on and that was what you saw for the next 30 minutes that the person was doing the training.
Luckily,
stuff.
that person was very engaged with the webinar.
Yes, that was a good thing. No nose picking occurred. It was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So those will be good ones.
Yep.
I think this is something we could have all used at the start of COVID too, right? When everyone was first getting used to working from home, just being able to, well, maybe we should not have that person's video up for this meeting. They don't realize it's showing, type of a thing.
May not be most appropriate thing that they could be wearing or doing.
That's great. Together mode for GCC High. So that's launched. So that's going to be fun. Another one that I think is interesting is update to Microsoft Teams meeting participants access to chat. So this is one, if someone is added to a meeting via a meeting link, but not part of the original meeting invite. So, right, so this is if I am added a link. So we're all in a meeting, but I wasn't on the original invite, but Adam IMs me or messages me, chats me.
I say I need an adult and beg Jen to come save me.
Yeah, and says, hey, come to this meeting. Here's the link. I'm going to jump into the meeting. And while the meeting's happening, I'm going to have access to the chat. I'm going to have access to the files. I'm going to be able to engage. Once the meeting ends, though, I will no longer have access to that content. So that's a change that's coming. So that's going to be there. I'll lose access once the meeting ends. And that makes sense. It's going to keep it structured so you kind of know and you can see from the meeting invites who has access and who doesn't. So there you go. That's something that is launched there in the worldwide tenant.
Well, the thing is, if I add you for today's meeting, but it's one that we do on a regular basis, I really don't want you necessarily to be able to see all the stuff from before.
All the shit
Absolutely.
talking
all
that
the stuff
Tom and I
going
do
forward.
about you outside. No.
Exactly.
Oh.
We want to hide that. That's why we bring you in special, Jen. Bring
Y'all
her in
are
special. She
silly.
won't see any of the older new stuff.
So two things that I kind of wanted to point out. I'm interested on my Sharepoint friends, so the three of y'all's opinion on this. I've always thought this was a weird feature, but again, like I was born in the Exchange world and everything like that. So OneDrive, the request files features coming to GCC High and DoD.
Wonderful.
I've had clients ask about this, but all it basically is if you know a file's in there and you don't have access, you can basically just tell the person you want access through a process built into Microsoft. But it always seemed weird. Like, couldn't I just message the person and be like, hey, man, can you share the file with me? I guess this is a more formal process to go through and do it. So any of y'all want to give y'all's thoughts on there from a
I don't
Sharepoint
think
perspective?
that's the same feature.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think it's slightly different.
No. So request files would be like, hey, Adam and Tamara, I need you guys to upload your presentation for the user group this
Sure.
week.
Yep.
Here is the link of where you need to put them.
Yep.
And if you two goobers happen to name it the same name, I'm just giving you a location and you're going to be able to go put it in there and OneDrive is going to be able to do it. So without me having to give you
That makes sense.
like the exact URL, or because previously what I'd have to do is I'd have to go create everyone's PowerPoints
And give them access to edit it.
and then
Yeah.
go give them the link and say, go edit this file. Or I'd have to give you like create a folder and then give you a link to a folder. And then it would just be like
Or
chaos.
Tamara has
And
the name of the same file as you do, and she uploads
Yeah.
second. She overlays
it just
yours.
wouldn't work. So it would be a request from me to you to say, hey, go put this here in my OneDrive. And then OneDrive's able to like let you put it there.
Sure, that
But
makes sense.
maybe I don't know the type of file it is. Maybe I don't want whatever. And then it gives you permission and it just works in a really nice way.
See, this is why we have like the SharePoint people that work with end users on the call, in addition to me, because
Yeah.
I have no idea what was going on. That makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
The other one that I'll just give a shout out, this is one that's like near and dear to my heart just because I've messed with this a lot over the last couple months. They're giving you the ability to test out EDM with MIP, which is exact data match. So this is actually really great, and it was kind of funny. I realized you couldn't do this earlier. EDM is a fairly complicated data loss prevention on crack type thing you're doing, where you're going through and you're actually trying to protect the actual data, not just algorithms that look for patterns in the data, but like if you're a hospital, you're trying to protect your patient records. If you're a bank, you're trying to protect your finance records, so on and so forth. But I went through this whole process of deploying it in my lab as a test for my client, and I got to the point that I deployed everything, and like then you can just turn it on. There's no test. It's just all right, well now you're protecting with it, which is like, that would be terrifying if I was a hospital. Was like, well, hopefully I'm protecting my patient records now. So the fact that you couldn't really test out if like the schema that you'd built out, which is a fairly technical process, is actually finding the data that you want it to find. So very common sense thing that they added in here, and that should be available across all tenants, GCC, DoD, GCC High, all that stuff now. So pretty cool.
I must admit, though, as you kept saying EDM, I'm thinking I just want to sit here and go.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I live with him.
I didn't
I feel
start
bad
seeing
for
who let the
Tamara.
dogs out. Come on.
Yeah, so normally Tom is moderately calm and presented most of the time, and I am definitely a bad influence. Like once Tom and I get on the meeting, like I feel like I bring Tom's bar down a little bit.
Oh, you should have seen us in dance about 3 weeks ago. They had some music playing, and it was kind of a drop the beat dubstep type stuff. She's putting our jackets away, and I'm sitting there going, "Stop it!" And I'm like, I can hear you. I can hear you still. So yeah, I don't have much of a bar.
That's awesome. That is
and
Bar
awesome.
free.
Anything
Well,
else?
so
Anyone
one
want to?
Anything else?
No,
Go ahead,
Adam's
Tim.
got one more. Go,
Oh.
Adam, go.
No, I'm good. I have mine. I was curious.
All
if you
right.
want to say anything.
Microsoft Teams anonymous presenter support for live events. This is great if you need to invite somebody who isn't part of your domain or doesn't necessarily have an account within your domain, so they can be anonymous presenters. So I have a specific use case for this where this is going to come in real handy. So I'm very excited to see this. Unfortunately, it's not coming to DoD or GCC High, but that
Yet.
did roll out in April.
Yeah.
So we should see it in about another 3 months or
Well,
so.
yeah, I also like too how they'll be like, oh yeah, it rolled out 3 months ago, and it's clearly just now getting updated in the roadmap.
And then the other thing is Yammer Essential Announcements. So this feature allows Yammer community admins to achieve a guaranteed distribution of important community announcements via email for all members of that community, even if it's outside of their preferred notification setting. So this is like that urgent setting where it pings you like every 20 seconds.
I'm emailing you anyway, even if
Yeah.
you said no.
Even though you said no, I'm going to shove this email down your throat. So that's coming, or that is out since May.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything else?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, it's been super fun this week, guys. We will be back next week. And my only request is, Tamara, can we please put a Fitbit on Stella? Because I want to see how many steps that dog takes a day. Because she hasn't stopped.
No, she got a new bone, so
As
she's
soon as
trying to
she's
hide
early.
it from us,
Yes.
so we don't take it because we will steal it.
That's
And it will be the
Fan-
same circle over and over.
Fantastic.
She has to check all the good spots, Tom.
I love it.
Mhm.
Repeatedly.
I love it. Ours gets bone anxiety, so when it gets down to the bottom, he has to cry. But if we just give him another bone, then the little bone can stay. It's amazing. But anyway, the life of
All
dogs.
right.
We love them. Bye, everybody. See you
Bye
next
now.
week.